From Forestville's graduating class of 1988, this alum played the clarinet and was a member of the girls' basketball team. After high school, she attended and graduated from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore with a Bachelor of Arts in English. She went on to get a Master's of Science and Technology Management from the University of Maryland University College. Now, she is a business analyst and product owner for a large staffing and services company. I am honored to share this space and time with someone whom I have known since elementary school. Welcome, Miss Nicole Burt, to the Night Zone.
We are back with another episode. This time we have another class of 88 graduate from Forestville High School, the original Forestville High School, not the magnet school.
Nope.
Joining us today, we have Nicole Burt. She is one of, and I want to make sure I don't say my oldest friends. She is someone that I've been knowing for over 30 years. We started in elementary school together, hanging out on y'all front porch all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
all the time.
And
we are still going strong after 30-something years.
Elementary school, middle school, high school.
All of it. Yeah. But you always was the quiet storm of the group.
Yeah, I was the quiet storm.
Yeah. And you sit back. You always sit back. Don't interject. Don't add anything until you become when something become personal to you.
Then I'll pipe up.
You almost like shut it down. So, do you remember? I think it was back in 2012 or 2013. We had traveled together to our other Forestville classmate house in Florida. Yeah. And you always sitting at the table on your Apple. You always got Apple. You so bougie. Everything is Apple, right?
Well, I was a Mac tech, so that's another story.
I'll
circle back to it. So.
Yeah, that makes sense then. And I don't know how we got in a conversation about Jay-Z not rapping anymore. And it all started with me and Tanya. And I was like, but he's still in the game. He's still in the business. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I don't know if you remember that.
I vaguely remember this conversation. What did I say, though? I don't remember what I said.
All I know was 2 against 1. You and Tanya were on the same side. Because I kept saying he was behind the scenes more. But it was
something. Yeah.
It was just really weird. Though,
I can't remember, but I remember
vaguely. You came out from your apps. She was all into her apps.
In.
And so whenever I looked at your computer, and it just irritates me. But you are so techie. You have all these apps across your screen. Yeah. I looked at your computer. I was like, because I'm so dyslexic and ADD. If I see more than 10 icons, I got a problem.
Especially on my phone, I've been better. I would download the app in the quickness. I need it for something, download it, install it. Oh, okay, I used it one time.
Are you serious?
So every so often I have to go through and delete apps.
Because you had a million of them. But one thing, and we are going to kind of delve into your education and how you ended up over into the information management technology field. Yeah. But the things that you have done to save me in my life. Every time I get a computer, I always create an admin profile.
Yeah.
Always. When I lock that computer up, and I could not remember that password. And you was like, go to your admin profile. What's that? You said, always create an admin profile and give the password 1, 2, 3.
Or whatever. Something you remember.
Yeah, something you can remember. Yeah. And after I learned that from you, because remember when my mom was living, I think we called you every few months. We were
for her computer. Yeah.
We were always calling you. Her computer's jammed up. You empty the cache and run this program on it to clean it out. And so over the years, I've been learning from you. So again, it's interesting for me and for the rest of the Forestville crew out here. How did you go from an English major
to it? Well, when I was in high school, my parents loved to read, period. They are voracious readers. And they used to instill in us to read. So anything we wanted to read, newspaper, my brother was big into sports. He had a Sports Illustrated newspaper. My sister loved fashion, so she got Vogue or whatever. And then I read whatever. But one thing I will always remember, we must have been around 12, 13. And it was summertime. And we used to run around the streets and stuff like that. I had to come in the house to read a book. I was hot. And the book was To Kill a Mockingbird.
That was one of the best novels.
When I gotta come in and read a book, I mean, I'm ripping and running. I'm young, you know, but it instilled in me to always read, always be educated. I mean, as much as you can, and to learn. So when I went to high school, I always liked English.
Okay.
So, and I would like excel in those English classes, well, good at those English classes, and I was struggling in math. And to this day,
I struggled in math.
To this day, I'm not great at math. And I was just like, oh, I like English, you know. So when I went to college, I said, let me do English because I didn't know any better. And I think, you know, one thing I would do over for sure, and I encourage anyone to do it, to be more, like, have more of a goal coming out of high school.
See, I thought you had one.
I really didn't. I was like, I like English. English here.
You act like you were so appointed.
Just have more. And I think these days you need to have a goal because being an English major, I managed, you know, did communications. I came out, didn't really have a specific thing. So I ended up just like temping. You know, because I didn't really have.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Temping, and I would. And number one, number two, I was a huge sports fan growing up. And, you know, I was huge.
Yeah.
Georgetown, I love Georgetown. I was a Georgetown fan. Redskins, all the DC areas fan. And when I got to college, again, I was an English major, and I said, well, I like sports. How can I get involved? I work for the sports information, sports information director office.
You did?
Yeah. All through, I had a stipend and everything all through college. So, which was cool because I took stats. I traveled with the team.
Oh my God.
I did all of that.
That's exciting.
And so when I got out of college, I was like, well, I want to work in this field. But back then it was extremely, extremely difficult.
Okay.
Because it was I didn't have the information. I didn't have the know-how. I tried everything. I went to a sports information conference out in Arizona. I'll never forget it. I think it was a sports career. I think they started out sports career. I went out there. I actually got my paralegal degree certificate. Old Dominion University had like a satellite. Are you Old Dominion University had a satellite. Exactly, had a satellite office, had a satellite campuses, and they were offering a paralegal certificate. So I said, well, let me do that, and now we can work for a sports lawyer or a sports manager, something like that. So I did that. Sent out a resume, nothing. So then I'm still like pounding the payment. I even did an interview with the black golfer. You know who I'm talking about, who lived in DC.
I'm going to have to look that up.
My God. He lived up Northwest, actually.
Okay.
Now, anyways, a famous black golfer.
I'm going to look that up.
And I went to interview there. And I didn't get the job. I was just like devastated. At this point, I'm just temping. I am temping now. Well, I will say, when I was temping, it was two very good companies. I got most of the time. It was Amtrak. I temped Amtrak and SEIC.
Okay. What is SEIC?
Science Applications International Corporation. The reason why I always remember that, because I had to answer the phone. I used to say, good morning, Science Application International Corporation. How may I help you?
And
or whatever.
You're not one for a lot of talking. So
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. So, and I actually, and they offered me, I think they offered me a job there. And I'm like, and I should have, because that's a company who employees, they own the company.
Oh, wow.
And like, if I could have gotten
you would have had some of the stock and the earnings. Oh, wow.
But I didn't know that at the time.
We weren't, yeah.
So, so then I'm temping at World Bank. I'm temping all over DC at this point.
World Bank.
And I'm applying for jobs. I need healthcare. So I'm applying for everything, right? Get a call. She's like, who's this? Oh, this is from so-and-so from National Geographic.
Okay. This will lead to where
you applied for a job. Like, really? I'm
did?
I did. Back then, P.O. boxes. Had no clue who you're applying to. Do you want to come in for an interview? I'm like, all right. Came in for an interview. They had their own internal, like, staffing. So instead of them calling an outside company, I I was staff, but I would go to different departments and then like do little assignments and go to another department, own internal thing. So when I went there, I went to the communications department, which I'm an English major. Okay. This is cool. So it was like the public affairs, which I did like that job. I did like that job. I learned a lot. I learned a lot how to write. I learned to write press releases, how to do all that. So I did.
I might have to call you up now see if you still had those skills. Oh, no. I need that.
So I did learn and then we had tons of events that we had to do there. So I learned like that. But while I was there, corporates would come up and say, hey, Nicole, how do you do this on the computer? How you do this? How you fix this? Can you do that? I'm like, oh, okay, I like that. Oh, I figured that out. So I'm like, I need to get paid for doing this because... And at the time, our help desk, they were contracting, but you're going to make them staff. And I this whole time, I knew different people in IT because I was like, when they come to fix the computer, I'm like, well, how did you do this?
Okay.
Tell me, explain to this. And they would do that. I would get information. And then a opening came on the help desk. I knew the person who was a manager there. And I said, I want this job. What do I have to do to get this job? And then I applied for them. Interviews, and I got the job. So that
was permanent.
That was permanent. I was always staff.
Okay.
I was always staff. The internal floater pool was a staff position.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when your temping had stopped when you got to National Geographic.
Yeah, when I got to National Geographic. And so then I went there, and that set me on the path for IT for the rest of.
Is that where you met the infamous, my current colleague at the moment? The infamous Robert Johnson.
That's what I met him. And
that is amazing.
Yeah, so I was there for 20 years. So I got laid off.
Okay, so because over the years, I know that you do not like to talk unless it's something really passionate that you're interested in. Yeah. So when you started working into the technology side, did you have to talk more or less than when you were at the...
I was on the help desk, so I'm talking every day, 8 hours a day, all day.
Wow.
And so much so, I hated for my phone to ring when I got home.
I should know. I should know, because I would have to leave voicemails.
I was at, sometimes when I was at home, I would help desk because that's how long. And I was on it for 5 years, which is long for a help desk thing.
Wow, most people don't,
it depends on the but typically it's a high, not necessarily a high turnover, not at least at Not Geographic, but burnout for sure. Because you're doing it, solving problems or whatever you can do at 8 hours a day. So
then I add insult to injury because then I call you up, hey Nick, what's going on with my 80K?
Yeah, I know.
Help me create
and
this.
And then I'm the tech for my whole family and friends. Everybody come look. So,
but do you enjoy it? Because, like you said, you did not start off as that way.
I think I enjoyed software. I enjoyed solving problems. I enjoyed just learning because you do a lot of learning in that. So I did enjoy it. And then the funny thing is, after I got promoted to do tech support, the second level where I'm actually
tier 2, right?
Yeah, tier 2, yeah. So I did that for another 5 years or so, and then I said I need to do something else. So then, so that's when while I was on the help desk, I went to graduate school, got my master's degree.
Everybody has a master's degree. You don't get a master's degree. You know what? I need to go back to school. I don't know if I need it, but I need to be able to say that.
Go back to school.
I'm like, wait a minute, I missed the bus.
But the funny thing is, the main reason I did it was, I wanted to learn, but partly out of boredom. I needed something to occupy my mind, time. So I know I didn't want to take a standardized test. The SAT was enough for me.
I know, right? No GREs, none of that. Yep.
So, and then University of Maryland, University College, I thought it was called. That's what it was called then. Yeah. It's Global Campus
now, yeah.
So you just apply, and they look at your transcripts and your work history and all that, and that's how they don't do the GRE. I'm like,
good.
My alley.
That's why I should have done
And they had night courses and online stuff. So I did that, and I graduated there from there. Yeah.
So
in 2006.
So let me back up for a second because I did have an outburst. Your master's degree is in what?
Technology management.
Technology. Wow, that is just. But in high school, you had no thought about that.
None really, and I just didn't know. You know, what I'm saying? I think coming out of middle school. 'Cause I think in middle school you have it figured out as far as the middle school goes. Because it's only like 7th and 8th grade.
Yeah,
so,
right.
But going from like middle school to high school, I think it was like a shock for me. I didn't feel comfortable. I probably didn't feel like in my skin until like senior year or junior year. It's just such a transition.
I didn't participate in any, and we're going to transition into that. I didn't participate in any clubs until probably 11th and 12th grade. I didn't even attend my first pep rally until 12th grade. Yeah. See, and I always thought you were kind of in the know.
I wasn't. I feel like, I think it's all, you tend to internalize a lot of things, and that's definitely for me. I think like a lot of my peers, I felt like were more popular than I felt like the outsider. I mean, I was popular by osmosis because it wasn't me. And that was a stretch thing. I mean, so that's how I felt. And I think the two things that I think really solidified, at least in my mind, in my 16-year-old mind, is that like I really didn't date in high school. I didn't do it until out of college.
I didn't either.
And then,
only one time, I think.
A lot of people worked after, like had work jobs after school, and I didn't. I did, and my parents didn't.
McDonald's didn't want me.
My parents wouldn't let me. Yep. And the thing that really irked me at the time is that my brother, I had an older brother and an older sister, they worked after school. But I can't work. I mean, I was hot about that, right? So, and every time you go to Forestville Mall, everyone was there.
The whole school was there. When you go to the McDonald's that was long time ago, Maryland Gardens.
Oh, yeah.
You go to that McDonald's, everyone is in there. Everyone got
the one near the school, right
like
there in the corner.
Walter's Lane.
Right, Lane. Yeah.
I couldn't get a job. One of our closest friends, she was working at Kenny's. Yeah. People working at Burlington. Nobody would hire me.
I couldn't even apply. So, but because she said, my mom was like, comes from your education, not looking back, I appreciate
Were you in any clubs in school?
I wasn't. I did basketball and band, but not all the 4 years.
But that's what you sent me information because I was shocked.
I didn't do it all 4 years. But you said you played
the clarinet.
I played the clarinet.
So when I was in the band in, I think, elementary school, I played the flute, but I did not play the flute. I sat up there and act like I was blowing.
Oh, you didn't play? I started playing. I started playing in elementary school, clarinet, all through middle school.
You had put a microphone on that flute.
Yeah.
No, not your microphone. If you had put it on my flute, you would not have.
You were like faking the flute.
If you were here on the episode when Arvell Howerton from school, when he was trying to teach me coordination with my hands, he could make a square with one hand and snap while this hand was making a triangle.
Oh, really?
And then he could do.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2,
Lord.
3, 4. Well, I know it looked kind of crazy.
But you're doing it. You played the clarinet.
I played the clarinet. I want to say.
Were you actually playing?
Yeah, I was actually playing.
You were. So you were keeping up with the notes in the song, and you had a tempo. You remember that little tempo thing?
Oh yeah,
what is it called? Some odometers. And they go like this.
Yeah.
And you were actually playing.
I was actually playing. I learned in elementary school.
Miss Crenshaw was out.
Yeah, 5th and 6th grade.
Miss Crenshaw taught you.
Yeah, I was something. I think elementary. It's in the middle. Yeah, and it was elementary. It must have been because my sister also she played the flute and she really played. She was really much so she could have gone professional. If she wanted to.
Gosh,
that's how good she was.
I'm so jealous.
And the thing of it is, I think at Johnny G. Howard you could only play instrument in the 4th grade. She wanted to play so bad in the 3rd grade. She like begged the teacher, I want to play. So finally they let her, and my mom went out and got her a flute, and she persistence for her. She was very persistent.
Greg and I started off, and neither one of us, we knew we were not musically inclined.
Greg was in the band too, right?
We at elementary school, I don't think he went further. We were not musically inclined, or at Andrew Jackson. We were not musically inclined.
Okay.
That's just like, I mean, I'm just amazed listening to you that your sister played, you played. I'm like, what?
Yeah, played clarinet. And then I stopped, I forget, I think 10th grade I stopped. And then I played the basketball team, but I didn't do all 4 years. But because I sucked at it.
And I know because you're tall, because you're tall. Everyone probably back then, you gonna play ball? You gonna play? You know,
and I
always asked the
and that's
tall
another thing
girls.
because I was tall and stood out, and you know, at that age, you don't want to stand out. At least I didn't.
Right.
So yeah, but I knew that being an athlete wasn't the life for me. So that's why I wanted to do get into sports and the business of it, or the journalism of it and stuff like that. But
you amazed me when you said you did a lot of the stats for the team, because you may not have known this in high school. I was a statistician for baseball.
I remember for baseball,
And I love baseball, but it has to be live. I cannot do baseball watching 9 innings at home. I have to be there, and I really wish I could be the statistician for a sports team. Because I just felt like I was the best.
And back then you had to do it by hand. And I think towards I left college, they had some software. So now it's much simpler. You put in the thing and it calculates
and then
for you.
Being a technology major as you are now, you would just eat that up. You would just eat that stuff up. Like you had kind of started down that path and then you stopped. If you could, because you say, I wanted to work, I wanted to do these things, knowing who you are now, looking at how your life has evolved, if you could go not back to elementary school or middle school, but if you can go back to the beginning of high school, is there anything that you would change or do differently?
I think having just more confidence in myself, especially at that age. I think it's just so much to get used to. You think you're the only person going through it, when in actuality you're not. Although I just knew I was the only person going through it. So I think having more confidence in maybe communicating more. I think one thing too is that since I think one of the reasons why I didn't talk more, I didn't have close siblings. Because my one sibling was 8 years old, the other was 5 years old, and she moved out early, and then my brother's 8 years. So I didn't have someone to say, well, when you went through high school, was this
your sister was an athlete too for a while, right?
She played volleyball.
So you and her actually you and Lisa have a lot of similarities. A lot, and I didn't know that. I just always saw you as the baby sister, the baby girl. I did not know.
And then plus we didn't all go to the same high school. So in one family, 3 different high schools.
So where did your brother go?
He went to Suitland.
Okay.
And then my sister went to Crossland because she wanted to do hair.
That's right.
And then at the time, we were going to go to Suitland, but then it got overcrowded.
They bust us. They created Forestville out of 2 schools.
Out of 2 schools.
Junior high and North Forestville or Forestville Elementary.
Or something like
that.
They combined that 2 schools.
And then here we are. Forestville Nights. Made up school.
Exactly.
And I think at that time the enrollment was 700 some people. Its inception was 1982. And then I don't know what was the last graduating class before it became a magnet. But I think it shut down maybe in the late 90s or some mid 90s and it reopened.
Something like that.
See, it's amazing that you said that you didn't have a lot of confidence in school because I have such a big mouth and I was very vocal. People thought that I had it together in high school, you know, because I was student council and different things like that. Head of the homecoming committee. I was a cheerleader. I was a piss poor cheerleader, first of all. Let's get that corrected. I was a good student, but after a while, I had a rebellion stage where I didn't make good grades because I had hit I had hit the top so many times, maybe not over all students, but at least in my family, that sometimes, and I was like, I'm not going to keep making good grades. It's not paying off. I thought it was supposed to pay off for my mom and my dad. It wasn't paying off for me because I knew my potential. But like you said, I think all of us in school, most of us were trying to find ourselves, because when I run into classmates now, they felt like I had it all together. And I was like, oh, in my 16-year-old mind, I did think I had it together until we graduated and all of you all went off to college. I stayed home.
Well,
I didn't go anywhere.
And honestly, the college thing, I only applied to 3 schools. Morgan? No. Coppin, one of those. UMES and University of Kentucky, of all things. I told you I was a huge college basketball.
So that's why you applied out there.
And one of the teams was University of Kentucky. They were good at the time. and I think it was Rex Chapman was on there. And I say, oh, University of Texas, let me just apply to that. That's out on the whim. Why they accept me? So my mom was like, yeah, you're not going there. And then I applied to UMES, and it's in Maryland, Eastern Shore.
So she was okay.
She was okay with that, and they, So
Lisa just took off, and Clint just took off. They went wherever they wanted to go, but you couldn't do anything.
I couldn't do it.
You were the baby.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I'm grateful in that regard because they paid for it. You know what I'm saying? And and it was much, much cheaper than it is now. So I didn't have any student debt when I came. I had little student debt when I came out, so I was grateful in that regard.
Because I was a little bit lonely when all of y'all went off to college. Because I stayed right up under my mom. Yeah. My mom couldn't even sweep me from. I talk all this trash about how I'm going to soar the Empire State Building. I'm going to do all these things, and it was time to leave. I went nowhere. All of y'all left, and I was like, Nikki's gone, Wanda's gone. This person, Cynthia's gone, my brother's gone. And I was the only one still.
Think of it is, because it was more adjustment in college because I wanted to drop out. And the sophomore, mom's like, stay to it, stick into it.
On another episode, again, Ariel Howardson, he said that he wanted to stop going to school, but it was one of his frat brothers that encouraged him to keep going.
Yeah, my mom encouraging me.
But why did you want to drop out?
I don't know. Because again, it's more adjustment, and I didn't feel like until my sophomore and junior. My junior and senior year again. And I think the first year for sure, I was homesick.
Wow.
I need to go home.
Did you have a dorm mate?
Huh?
Did you have a dorm mate?
I had a roommate.
Did you like the person?
I did not.
Oh goodness! So what was that like?
I did not. Actually, she stole from me too. And that.
Like things like what? Clothing?
It wasn't clothing. It was something. What was it? I think it was a piece of jewelry, I think. And it wasn't real. It was a big jewelry. But yeah, and after that experience, from that point, that's why I would never ever have a roommate in life. Going again. But after that experience, Serena?
She was there.
Yeah. So I think we stayed into one semester. And then that was the dorm. And then when you got to junior, sophomore, and junior, senior, you went down to the apartments. And then we had suite mates. Yeah. So
that was better.
Yeah, that was better. You had literally your own room and stuff. So but yeah, I think I wanted to transfer. I just didn't know. But
I wish I had stayed on campus and I didn't. Yeah, I commuted.
Yeah, I do. I'm glad I did stay on campus because at least you get the college life, type deal. So I'm glad for that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I graduated. I'm like, now what?
I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out how to make that degree work for you.
Yeah.
Because in my life, I feel like if I didn't get my degree, I would still have the same career that I had.
Yeah.
Because most of us go to work for the federal government, and if you're going into a regular field, you don't need the degree. Now, if I'm going into a science or technology field, I would have needed some type of certifications or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep. So, one thing I learned about you being, I'm not going to say we're true Washingtonians because we grew up in PG County, but go-go was widespread, and half of the people that played in go-go bands were from Maryland. And that is one thing that I know about you and your go-go music.
And my go-go music.
So,
and it's funny because I think the very first go-go, and I did not go to a lot of go-go's.
I went to a few.
Maybe a handful of them, but it was one that someone was down at Johnny Howard.
I remember. I can't remember if it was the early days of the Junkyard Band or Air Raid or somebody was down there.
I believe it was Junkyard.
But I think I was in elementary school when I went down there, or middle school.
I think we were in middle school.
Yeah.
Was it middle school? It was something like that. And that was the first one I've gone to. Because I think back then, too, it had the bad reputation. It was dangerous there. And my mom didn't want to go and stuff like that, So then...
But we grew up on that stuff.
I know.
And I just say any of the go-go bands that are out there now, I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was Trouble Funk, Rare Essence, Air Raid, Junkyard, some of those. And now when they talk about these bands, CCB, I don't know, CCB or I don't even know the names of it. If you weren't back then,
right? Yeah,
you know, just like I was teasing with my production team earlier. I put it away, but I had a cowbell. But I was in here trying to say you know, that was the thing for me. You know,
especially growing up in this area for sure.
But I do like the fact that Jill Scott and some of these other celebrities out here, they have those underlining beats in their music. But it's just proud to know that we're from the generation in the area, you know, where Chuck Brown and some of the greats started from, and they have a go-go museum now that me and you really need to go check out.
I heard of that. I don't think I've been to it yet.
They opened it up, I think it was either earlier this year or last year, and they also have a mobile museum. We need to put it in go. And
glad they did that because it'll be something that
like
gets lost
art.
art and be lost.
And it may not be in the African American History Museum in Washington D.C. I don't even think they have us in that. They do have us in that section.
They have Chuck Brown.
Okay, they have him.
They have
but I think that those are a lot of the pioneers. You know. Some of them have already passed and gone on, but they need to, you know, celebrate that.
I know Chuck Brown in there for sure, but I think it goes over to Go-Go, Chuck Brown, and I think it lists a different Go-Go bands in there. So, I don't know, I've been there
you came here to help me out and kick this off. And for some, this has been the reunions that we planned that we can't have. And that kind of led me to doing a podcast. Right. So hopefully... in transitioning, some of the people coming for the interview, some people leaving, they can get together, see each other in passing and different things like that. But before you go, because I know you took time out of your day to come meet with me, what inspirational motivation you have, you know, for, well, we can't say for people coming out of our alma mater because it's closed. But like if you could speak to
kids in general.
Kids in general, something that they needed to get while they're in school.
I think learn as much as you can. Develop good study habits.
And that's learn as much as you can in school or sometimes on your own.
Both, for sure. Get as many good studies habits as you can. Because one thing where I struggled coming out of high school, I thought I had good stuff. I got decent grades. You know, it's going to be easy peasy. Man, because no one's going to, when you get to college, no one's going to be there to hold your hand. No one's going to be there to remind you to do your work. No one is going to be, you're going to have all these other distractions. If you develop good study habits in high school, it will take you to college and later on in life.
You know, because we still have to study now.
You still have to study. You still have to study. You still have to, you know, be thorough and all those kind of things. So learn it early. Learn it early. It takes you a long way. And I think you know, it's going to be okay. You know, even you think you have hard times and struggle and things of that nature, you know, it will be okay. It will be okay. So.
All right. Well, thanks again. Thank you for answering the call. When I asked, would you do this?
No worries.
So thank you so much.
Encourage us to create more content. Subscribe and click on the like button. Oh yeah, don't forget to turn on notifications for new videos.